everyone, so I'm here with my assistant head Lindsay Reid, who has been very instrumental in the development of our curricular goals across both our schools. We have continued to develop them this year. They are not finished by any means as we start to talk as staff teams about what's really important to our children. We're going to be considering the questions that are in the PowerPoint now, which is from an article called Curriculum Goals of Your Own, which was published in Nursery World, written by Sarah Mackenzie. Her nursery setting thought very carefully about their visions and values when they were creating their curriculum. So we're going to have a discussion now using some of those questions. So Lindsay, thinking about our curriculum, how does it link in with our overarching vision?
So one of our visions is that we would like to protect the children's right to play.
Yeah.
And it's what we base our nursery day around.
Yeah.
And the importance of learning through play.
Yeah.
And we've made sure that our curriculum shows the value of the play throughout.
Yeah.
So to achieve our goals, they're achievable through play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we were thinking about our pedagogy, so at FANS, our pedagogy is that we have a very highly trained staff team of teachers and early years practitioners who have very high quality interactions while children are playing, and we have a mix of focused activities which are adult led and child initiated play. So how do our curricular goals fit in with that pedagogy?
They're very clear in terms of what skills we'd like the children to develop, and we've ensured that they are through play in terms of and through play and exploration, so that there's no requirement for it to be a tabletop activity sitting. They're very fluid throughout the environment, indoors and outdoors, and we've ensured that, for example, with our recipe one, which underarching it is kind of a mathematical theme, but there's examples of how it's achieved in the mud kitchen, in the creative area, in the real kitchen, and they're cross-curricular to ensure that, so it's not a case of you achieve this goal by sitting here and doing this activity. They're skills that are developed through play experiences. Yeah.
And we also made sure they were quite broad curricular goals, didn't we? We could have narrowed them, so we could have looked at a specific recipe. And all the children needed to create that. So we broadened them in a sense to make sure that it wasn't a product at the end, it was about the process, really, wasn't it?
It was learning the skill of reading a recipe, and the recipe can be to create anything.
So, question 4, thinking about how do we ensure a balance of child-initiated and educator-guided learning?
We ensure this happens through careful planning of our daily routine. And using our adults, we ensure that we have got some practitioners who have planned their activity based around their key children and what where their key children are along their paths along certain particular curricular goals. And in fact, we've used a little bit of assessment to group children, so that if you're a practitioner who's planning an activity for a specific key child, you can actually see which other children in the room are working at a similar development point.
So what they need teaching next.
And that's what they will have planned. So we've got certain adults each day who know that is their role for that day, and that's what they plan, and the rest of the adults are free, if you like, to join children in child-initiated play to bring an element, an extra element to whatever the child's doing, whether that be to extend language.
And I think what we benefit from, so perhaps if you're in a setting that's a nursery school, you're going to benefit like we do from having a very open-ended day. So our day is broken up into sections because we have part-time children, so some children that start in the morning and finish by midday, and some children that arrive later on, but we also have children from 8 till 6. What we don't have to do, because we're not in primary school, is suddenly stop for assembly.
Or an allocated break time.
Yeah. So we free flow all day, which really helps with the child initiated. You're not in the middle of block play and suddenly you have to stop that. You have long periods of play.
Where you can
for
really
this
delve
age.
into. Yeah.
So that's really helpful to us, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
So question 5. How do we involve our parents in our curriculum?
We ensure that our curriculum is on display for our parents to see, and we've through the website and also at drop-off areas. We're also planning to hold Zoom meetings across the 2 schools to really share our curricular goals. We didn't do it straight away because we knew that we needed to trial it and so that we could give them
Clear answers.
a clear answer, exactly, and as to what it all looked like. And so that obviously after the Zoom there may be questions that they might ask practitioners, so we wanted to ensure that everybody was at the same understanding level before they're faced with questions.
Yeah, so we didn't develop this too quickly, and we've given ourselves a period of 2 years to really finalise what it's going to look like. So we're filming this in March. We started this in September. Obviously there is the issues with COVID, so we had quite a difficult time from November to February.
Definitely.
With the staffing.
But we're still here.
So we've paused, but we feel that when we look back and when I report to governors about what we've done a huge amount to write this curriculum based on what we believe children need to learn. We don't have reception age children, so it's as they're leaving us to go up to primary school, the skills that they need, the communication skills, the social skills and the physical skills that they need to be a really good learner ready for reception have been really important to us. We've also, as part of this process, we do a series of moderation activities. So the governors are coming in Thursday this week to do a learning walk with us, looking for evidence of the curricular goals. We have taken in all of our special books and we've moderated them, and we looked for evidence of the curricular goals, and there was a wide bank of evidence. We could see children's voice, we could see that practitioners were offering children a range of things, not just from the curricular goals but wider than that. So we were really pleased with that. So as we're sharing this curriculum with parents, we're having parents meetings talking about the curricular goals. We are sharing those books with families so that they can see the evidence of these curricular goals and what it looks like. And I think that's really important because particularly for our parents, perhaps it's their first child, we are the experts in what we know play should be for this age group. We're really confident in what we do, and our curricular goals were based on our knowledge. So we are confident in that, sharing that with parents. So we didn't over-rush sharing it with parents to make sure that the team that were physically doing the sharing felt confident in what we were talking about, and that has taken a number of months, hasn't it?
Yeah, because they were involved in the writing of it and what they wanted the children to achieve by the end, but you need to have tried out and and it's nice that they've had an assessment round as well, so they've seen how that's going to work.
And our first assessment round we did together, so we sat and talked about several children that where they were sitting within our goals. And sometimes practitioners said, well, I've said this child's here, but if you're saying that child's there, where should this child be? And that was really helpful.
It was really useful, and actually we're going to carry that on and do that for our spring data as well. Do it as a team.
And also within the curricular goals that we've written and created, there's a section for families to share their own view on that. So that will be our expectation of key people. When they meet with parents, they will ask parents to either write some evidence or they will record what families say to us. We also share our curricular goals with staff with Class Dojo. So our communication system with families, we share what children are doing on a daily basis through photographs of the setting. And families can look at that. It's a bit like social media, but without it being too wide. You sign up for that. So we can share what those curricular goals physically look at and look like through those play experiences, and our families have really responded well to that. In particular, our curricular goals around storytelling. We use a specific storytelling method called Tales Toolkit, and that takes some time for everybody to understand what that is. So once we start recording those stories and sharing those with families, they have a greater understanding. And we will be doing a Zoom session for families by the end of this term. So they've all been emailed the goals, they're also on the website. So we can then have question and answer sessions with families to talk about how we developed them and why those skills are particularly important. But also to state to families, our curricular goals are not the only things that we teach the children. They are a range of things from the 7 areas of learning that give us a good idea of what children need to learn next and are clear things that we can assess. But we also do trips to nature, we also take care of animals. We couldn't do a curricular goal for everything that we teach.
No, and you know, and some of the things, because we have the balance of child initiated, some of the things will change dependent on the children's experiences and what they bring to the nursery, and you can't plan for that.
No.
So we follow our curricular goals, but we're also open for different interests, different needs that arise, different things that pop up.
Yeah. And we wanted something simple to share with parents because we also wanted to simplify what staff had to produce within our assessment. So that was really important for us this year, that what we produced wasn't over laborious. Is laborious a word?
Laborious. I'm not sure it is, but it sounds good.
Yeah, there we go.
I like it.
Yeah.
Laborious.
Laborious. Coin a new phrase today, Helen. So, question 6. How do we support our team's understanding of our curriculum?
The thing that we've done that's had the most impact is they were there from the beginning of them and have been fundamental in the creation of them.
Yeah.
When we, in September, we had, for our inset day, our training, we worked as a team to create our goals. We'd put in a little bit of the groundwork so that it wasn't a blind, leading the blind kind of scenario. So we had already looked at development matters and thought, right, so for this area of learning, what would it look like for our children? What do we want them to be able to do for that area of learning when they leave? And we had some ideas already planned out.
And because we've got 2 schools, we decided, and because of COVID, we didn't have those meetings together. And actually, interestingly enough, I think we gave people 2 or 3 options of what a curricular goal could be, or said, if you've got a better idea, let us know. And interestingly, both schools picked the same ones. And that's interesting for us as a federation, because we've been working as a federation now for 7 years, and we really do have a clear value and vision between both schools, even though sometimes it can look quite different. So that was really interesting. We also had a second inset in January, where we looked back at what was working and what wasn't.
Yeah, we did.
And we made some. So what we've been producing, our curricular goal kind of statements, and we've called them different draft names. So the first one went on our website in September, but we've done a second draft in January, which was the one that we sent out to families when we were ready. So just ensuring that staff were really clear on that. We currently have curricular goals for our 3 and 4-year-olds with the idea that the 2-year-olds will be working towards them. The 2-year-old team, from an assessment point of view, are now creating their own goals. We looked at whether we create some for SEND, but we felt that our SEND children are so highly supported, and they have a huge number of personal targets set for them that they meet, that we didn't want to then create another set of curricular goals. So they meet their goals within our curriculum, but it looks different. So for these curricular goals are for our most typical children, really, typical 3 and 4-year-olds with typical communication pathways. But our children that don't communicate with using clear language can still partake in them.
And it makes more sense for them to be working towards their personalised targets, because they're not typically following a path and have their own journeys to make. So you can't really write a clear goal, because they're following different pathways.
But I feel confident now if, so for instance, when we do our governor's walk, that the team will be able to confidently talk about their curricular goals, what they're doing, working towards them, We are also doing our appraisal based on a curricular goal that we didn't see much evidence of. So we saw good evidence in our special books for maths, but we didn't see much evidence for following a recipe yet.
Yeah.
So we've decided to look at that one to see how staff are coping with that particular goal. And in the summer term, they'll do their peer observations based on that goal as well. So they can build their understanding of what those early math skills look like within that particular goal. So we've done a lot really, but we've also been quite open for the team saying, well, this isn't working.
Yeah,
and we've rewritten bits, haven't we?
Yeah, and they've really shared in the process.
Yeah.
And I think as you were saying about having the inset day in January, we did. I think also it really helps you to have a feel of your goals when you have tried to look at your key children where they are along their journey. I think that gives you a clear understanding.
Yeah. And also they're a really experienced team.
Yeah.
So they are a group of people that know what 3 and 4 year olds need to learn. They know how to teach it. So it was just about marrying up what we thought the most important things were in each of the subject areas to ensure that they're really school ready, but also really life ready. So all of our goals have a really strong communication thread. They all have a physical element. They all have a personal and social element, and we looked really at how children negotiate and resolve issues. So that was really key for us to build resilience. So we feel that we've done that, but we put a lot of groundwork in. So we were working on the curricular goals from Easter last year. We began to develop that. We had a lot put in place ready to then guide the team into, right, what do you think is valuable? And then we've revisited it, but we've also, when we've published them, said this isn't necessarily going to be the final product next year. So we know that we've already looked at our milestones within our curricular goals, and we feel that some of it is about the adult-led and some is about the child's skills and knowledge, so we're going to break those into 2 sections for our sort of next publishing of our goals.
Draft 22. No, not draft 22.
So thank you for talking to me today, Lindsay.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a real pleasure. We would recommend that within your staff teams you plan really carefully a journey into this. It's not going to be something that you print off the internet and just do. It needs to be really about your values and visions, and you need to think specifically about your team, what they need to develop, their strengths. So what are you really proud of in your setting? What are the things that families say to you about, wow, this is amazing? That's your curriculum, that's your strength. So finding ways to pin that down is really important. Thank you.